finalists, there are artists that master an artistic technique, but also artists that work with ideas and push boundaries, and some that try to do both those things. I know that the National Contemporary Art Award has been in the past known for its controversial nature, and I haven't tried to be controversial, but I think when people talk about art, it's always a good thing. So hopefully also this year will be a chance for that to happen. I decided to give 3 merit awards. They are non-financial prizes, but acknowledge kind of an outstanding contribution within the exhibition. So it's my great pleasure to give the first merit award to Shannon Te'ao and Ian Friendly for Untitled. The second merit award goes to Oscar Enberg for his Roboco C options work. And the third merit award goes to Roman Mitch for his studio shot installation. So it's my pleasure to announce the winners, and the winning work is titled Parallel of Life and Art, and the artists are Michael Parr and Blaine Weston.
I'd just like to say thank you to Caterina and the Waikato Museum, and obviously Blaine. Thanks very much for just always kind of pushing the collaboration so hard. But, also thanks to my own parents for being the most kind of friendly bank I know of. And also thanks very much for the catering, wonderful catering.
You don't want to be a nice plus one, you want your own invite?
The process that led to me choosing the finalists for this show was a quite lengthy and complicated one, because the selection process is based on an online entry. So what the artists submit is one image of the work they're proposing for the National Contemporary Art Award and a short description. And it's quite difficult from that scarcity of information to have a good idea of an artist's research. Once the selection is carried through, the semi-finalists are asked to bring their either artworks or their proposal to the museum, and at that stage I can consider the works in their physicality and decide if I want to include them in the final selection of the show. It was for me also quite a good opportunity to learn more about practices across New Zealand, and from the original over 200 applicants, I was quite harsh, I guess. I just chosen 20, and then those 20 became 19 artists. And I think I wasn't planning necessarily to be harsh, but the works that made it to the show to me were the ones that stood out for different reasons, for mastering an artistic technique or demonstrating to be knowledgeable about art history, and a different typology of works that seem to be pushing the boundaries of artistic mediums as we know them traditionally, but also putting forward interesting ideas and challenging the viewer's perception of the works. When I was invited to be the judge, I wasn't sure what to expect, and when I started looking at the applications, I don't think I had necessarily a strategy in mind, so I wasn't looking for a theme, or I wasn't looking particularly also for painting works or sculptures. I was just trying to give the same, time and attention to all the entries, and I started marking down the ones that seemed to me were interesting for different reasons. I considered in hindsight what my selection has been, and it's easier to do it now than to decide what you want to do at the beginning. And I did that also when I was thinking on how to install the finalists' work in the show and try to make more apparent either formal links or ideas that seem to be quite interesting to put in relation. So it was something that I consider more towards the end of the process when I was thinking about how the pieces would work as an exhibition, rather than having this theme or idea in mind and then just using that to select the artworks, because I think you cannot really control that, especially considering the National Art Award starts off as an open call. So also the quality of the entries is very different. I don't think there were any big surprises, although that moment when something from virtual becomes physical or real, it's always quite amazing. And I think maybe the only thing that took me a little bit off guard, even if people, when they enter their application, they need to mark down the sizes of the work. Seeing especially the photographic, the painting work, I think I was imagining it in my head with different sizes, but the content remained the same. So, and it was really nice to be able to spend some time with the works. So it kind of confirmed that maybe my selection was the right one. I thought it was important to give some recognition for the achievement also of other works presented in the exhibition, and I gave out 3 Merits Awards. And also for the Merits Award, I think looking sort of in hindsight at my decision, it was based on artworks that seemed to be challenging the viewer and inviting the viewer to think of other ways art is made, but also other ways art can operate. 1 Merit Award went to Roman Mitch with a piece called Studio Shot, and Roman offers to the viewer a snapshot of a physical snapshot, because there are objects in a room, of materials and initiated projects as we would find them in the artist studio, but they are of course in a gallery setting. And it's quite interesting, this stage of something that it's in process, that it's still sort of being made. It's like capturing this moment, but there's a before, and hopefully there'll be an afterlife to what we see in the space. And I quite like the idea that the artist gives the viewer the power to make their own mental artwork, to try and assemble what they see and decide if it could be an interesting piece of art or won't. A 2nd Merit Award went to Oscar Enberg, and Oscar proposed to install a shelf with mugs and tiles inspired by the RoboCop saga from the end of the 80s. And instead of having the installation in the gallery, he asked specifically for it to be placed in the staff room, so suggesting an interaction with the museum staff, that is the people that make the award happen, but also trying to make more apparent the links that exist between an artist and the viewer and the museum staff, so this triangle, I guess. The 3rd Merit Award went to a collaboration, so I guess maybe it is also a little bit a pattern that 2 of the winning works are a collaboration. Is a video work by Shannon Te'ao and Ian Frangley, and I was really impressed by how they master the the video medium, so they decided to make a video focusing on a specific site, this river in the region of Nelson, and looking at as the river as a metaphor for a site, but also as a way of thinking of one's identity or one's root. So seemed to me very powerful as well as beautiful. The challenge also of choosing the winner was that not all the works that feature in the competition were realized at the stage when I was asked to judge them. So I had to consider the winning proposal, for example, from a proposition, because the bus shelter that became the winning proposal hasn't been erected at that stage. I was really fascinated by what seemed to be a really interesting in-depth research into the local history of the Waikato region, and the idea of repurposing 1950s and 60s design for a bus shelter seemed to me a good and interesting way of addressing social issues, and also thinking of an artistic gesture or intervention that goes outside of the museum walls and tries to engage with the city and with the citizen of Hamilton in this instance. I also was really curious to see how they were going to erect a bus shelter, being, you know, two artists and not being a building company necessarily. So I think what seemed to me a winning idea and proposal was the fact that they managed to match a really powerful idea to also the challenge of building something and making it happen, and on top of that being brave enough of not using the gallery space, or I guess the protection of an art environment, but be open to put it out in the world and for people to think and discuss and use the artwork as well.
Quite often we use cardboard to transport all our belongings, and these cardboard used to hold all our treasures, like the house holds all our treasures. And I've always been fascinated with what goes on in people's houses. Usually you see houses along the street looking very, very blank, and I've always wondered what goes on inside. And even now when I make these houses, I still don't know that they're empty. The empty houses before I put the lid back on.
I thought of the sun and the sea as a lesser evil, Well, you know how I adjusted to that problem of the radio in the environment. Very much as the primitive people adjusted to the animals which frightened them, and which probably, as you say, were intrusions. They drew pictures of them on their caves, and so I simply made a piece using radios. Now, whenever I hear radios, even a single one, not just 12 at a time, as you must have heard on the beach, at least, I think, well, they're just playing my piece.
That might help me next weekend.
Yeah, and I listen to it with pleasure. By pleasure, I mean I notice what happens. I can attend to it rather than, as you say, surrender. I can rather pay attention and become interested in the, well, what it actually is that you're interested in is what superimposes what. What happens at the same time, together with what happens before and what happens after.
Yes, but I can't think unless thought is something of the past. The other night I met some friends in a place which I was very nostalgic about. I used to go there and talk a lot. No one could hear each other.
Hi, my name's Justin. I was asked to make a film about my practice and shoot it in my studio. But I don't have a studio, so we thought we'd film it here in a typical place that I might visit and photograph if I was visiting a town. This is a museum of taxidermy, and it's horrendous, but beautiful as well.